Good morning, my dear friend. As the first golden breath of dawn brushes against your window, I want to welcome you to the sacred stillness of this early hour. The world has not yet rushed in. The noise has not yet taken over. This is the time when the soul whispers loudest, and heaven feels near. It is in these gentle moments, before the demands of the day pull at your thoughts, that your heart has a chance to listen, to feel, and to breathe again. This is more than a morning. This is an invitation. Somewhere, right now, someone is sitting at the edge of their bed, staring into the quiet. Their body woke up, but their spirit still feels buried beneath the weight of yesterday. Perhaps you have known that place too, that ache that refuses to fade, that question that echoes louder when the world goes quiet, the loss that wraps itself around the chest like a tightening rope. Maybe it is the fear of what the day might bring, or the pain of what it already took away. Maybe it is the silence after the doctor says, "We have done all we can," or the moment when someone you trusted walked away, leaving behind a room full of unanswered memories. There is a woman who used to pray every morning before the sun rose, but one day, after burying the person she loved most, she stopped. "I can't feel anything when I pray," she whispered. "I just feel hollow." She still went through the motions, still smiled for her children, still showed up. But inside, she had begun to believe that God had forgotten her name. What she did not know was that, in the silence, something deeper was forming. Not absence, but preparation. Not abandonment, but an invitation to come closer than she ever had before. This is the tender place where so many of us begin, not in strength, but in surrender, not full of answers, but full of longing. Maybe that is where you are today, and if so, you are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are seen, and you are loved. The journey you are about to begin is not about knowing all the right words. It is not about performance. It is not even about being ready. It is about being willing. Willing to open your heart. Willing to sit in the quiet and say, "God, I am here." Willing to believe that even now, something beautiful can begin again. Prayer is not a ritual. It is not a box to check. It is a relationship, a living, breathing conversation between your soul and the one who created it. It is where honesty becomes healing, where wounds become altars, where the broken places are no longer hidden, but held in sacred hands. Faith does not require you to be unshaken. It simply invites you to trust, even when your knees tremble. I do not know what you carry today, but I do know this: God does not waste pain, and He never turns away a heart that seeks Him. This space is not about perfection. It is about presence, not about having the answers, but about asking the questions that matter, not about rushing through words, but about making room for the whisper behind them. So come just as you are. Bring your questions, your awareness, your hope, your doubts. Let them unfold here in this quiet moment. You do not need to pretend. You do not need to have it all figured out. You only need to show up, because when you come near to God, He comes near to you. Let this morning be more than a routine. Let it be the beginning of something sacred. Let every breath that follows carry the weight of intention, not just surviving, but living, not just hoping, but trusting, not just praying, but becoming. As the sun climbs higher, may your spirit rise with it. And as we begin, let these words not just be spoken, but received. Let them be the key that unlocks your courage, the mirror that reflects your worth, the hand that holds you steady as you take one more step toward peace. Welcome to the quiet where healing begins. Welcome to the light that meets you just as you are. Welcome to a new conversation with God. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you in the quiet weight of this morning, carrying what my words often fail to explain. The day has begun, yet my heart feels heavy, as if the night never truly ended. There are thoughts resting on my chest, fears that rise before the sun, and questions that linger without answers. I do not come to hide these things from you. I come because you already see them. You see the tired places in my soul, the places where hope feels thin and strength feels borrowed. I stand here not because I am strong, but because I need you. Father, there are mornings when I wake up feeling as though I am already behind, already failing, already bracing myself for what might go wrong. The silence around me does not always feel peaceful. Sometimes it feels loud with memories, regrets, and worries about what lies ahead. I confess that there are moments when I wonder if my prayers reach you at all, when the sky feels distant and my faith feels fragile. Yet even in that uncertainty, something within me still reaches for you. That small, trembling reach is all I have, and I place it in your hands now. You know the weight I carry from yesterday. You know the disappointments I replay, the conversations I wish had gone differently, the losses I never fully learned how to grieve. Some wounds are visible, but many are hidden behind quiet smiles and practiced routines. I have learned how to keep moving, even when my heart feels stuck. This morning, I do not want to run from that pain. I want to bring it into your presence, trusting that you are gentle enough to hold it and strong enough to redeem it. Father, I admit that fear often greets me before faith does. Fear of failing again, fear of being misunderstood, fear that I am not enough for what this day may demand. Sometimes fear whispers that my life has drifted too far off course, that I have missed my chance, that my prayers are too small or too late. But I choose to speak honestly with you now, because I know you are not offended by my weakness. You invite it. You meet me here, not with judgment, but with mercy that renews itself with every sunrise. In this early light, I ask you to meet me in the fog of my thoughts, where my mind feels crowded and restless. Bring clarity where my heart feels numb. Bring sensitivity again where I feel disconnected from purpose. Remind me that you are still present, still attentive, still near. I do not need everything to make sense right now. I only need to know that I am not alone in this moment. Father, if I am honest, There are days when I feel forgotten, when progress feels invisible and prayers feel unanswered. Yet deep within me, there is a longing that refuses to disappear. A longing to be known by you, guided by you, and restored by you. I bring that longing before you now. I lay down my expectations, my timelines, and my need to control outcomes. I ask you to take what feels broken and begin something new within me, even if I cannot yet see how it will unfold. As this day begins, I choose to pause instead of rushing ahead. I choose to acknowledge my need instead of hiding it. I choose to believe that this quiet moment matters, that what happens here in stillness will shape what follows in motion. Hold me steady in this place. Father, let this be the ground where hope quietly takes root again, where my breath slows, and where my heart remembers that you are my refuge. Even now, even here, even in the shadows of this morning, God, you heard me yesterday when I said I felt heavy. And somehow, waking again into this stillness, the weight is still here. Not louder, just lingering. It sits beneath the surface like a hush that refuses to break, a silence that stretches too long to ignore. I want to cry out to you, but the words feel stuck, and my heart struggles to push past the lump in my throat. It is like there is a scream trapped behind my ribs, but I do not know how to set it free. So instead, I come to you like this, quiet, raw, unsure, but still here, still reaching. Father, I do not even know what to pray for right now. I cannot seem to gather the right words. My thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. My soul is restless, like something within me is trying to rise, but keeps getting pulled back down. I do not want to be numb, but I also do not want to break. It is a strange tension, this in-between space, where tears do not fall, but neither does peace. I am aching for something I cannot name, and I do not know what to do with that ache except offer it to you, trembling and unfinished. There is a kind of pain that makes noise, and there is a kind of pain that moves in silence. Mine feels like the second kind, the kind that walks beside you without ever speaking, that presses into your chest when you are alone, that makes your own voice feel foreign. I know you are near, and yet this silence feels louder than ever. I do not doubt you love me. I just feel lost in a fog of not knowing what comes next, of feeling stuck between believing and barely holding on. Still, I trust that you are not measuring my faith by how loudly I pray. I believe you hear even the tears I cannot cry, the groans that stay hidden, the sighs that escape without words. You understand the language of my soul better than I do. So I bring it all to you, this quiet desperation, this still ache, this muffled hope. Lord, I need you to hold me where I cannot hold myself. Wrap your arms around the weary parts of me that have grown too tired to fight. Meet me in this silence, not to fill it with noise, but to make it holy. Let this ache be a doorway into something deeper, something real, something only you can do. When the voices in my mind grow too loud with fear, comparison, or regret, help me to recognize the difference between truth and torment. Help me to silence the ones that do not belong, the ones that say I am too much or not enough, the ones that say I should have moved on by now, the ones that lie about my worth, about my purpose, about your presence. Teach me to lean in when I cannot see clearly, to trust that you are still working in this quiet place. I do not want to pretend with you. I do not want to offer hollow words. I want to be real, even if that realness is messy, even if I have more questions than declarations, even if all I can offer is this fragile breath and a heart still unsure of how to heal. You are not asking for performance. You are asking for presence, and here I am. Not perfect, not polished, but present. God, if you are doing something in this silence, help me not to rush past it. If there is beauty hidden in this quiet valley, help me to notice it. Help me to stop demanding answers and start learning to listen, not with my ears, but with my spirit. Let my stillness become sanctuary. Let this moment become more than pain. Let it become encounter. There have been days when I kept walking, hoping that if I stayed in motion, I would outrun the H. But today I choose to pause. I choose to sit with you. I choose to believe that you can do something beautiful, even with the parts of me that do not know what to say. You are not waiting for eloquence. You are waiting for honesty. And if all I can do is offer my silence, then let it be the kind of silence that leans toward you. Hold my silence like a song. Let it rise as incense. Let it speak where I cannot. Let it be enough for today. I know you are not far. I know you are not ignoring me. I know you are not disappointed in this broken offering. You are the God who listens to the cries that have no sound, and you are with me. Even now, even here, even when I do not know how to begin. Father, even as I sit in the shadows of confusion and quiet pain, I find myself remembering. Somewhere beneath the weight I am carrying, there is a memory that flickers, a moment from before the silence, a time when my heart felt light and my prayers came easily, when joy did not feel like a stranger. I remember waking up with purpose, breathing with peace, and trusting you without hesitation. It was not perfect, but it was full. And now, though that feeling seems far away, I hold on to the memory of it like a candle cupped in both hands, shielding it from the wind. God, I do not want to live in the past, but sometimes the past is the only place where I remember what it felt like to truly believe, to truly rest, to walk through a day without fear tugging at my sleeve, to speak with you without this H in my chest. I find myself longing to return to those moments, not because they were easy, but because they were whole. Back then, I recognized myself in the reflection of your love. Now, I look in the mirror and see someone tired, unsure, and slowly forgetting how to sing. But even now, I believe those moments were real. And if they were real once, they can be real again. Maybe not in the same way, maybe not through the same doors, but if you brought me to peace before, you can lead me there again. So today, I choose not to mourn what I lost. I choose to remember what I had as evidence that your goodness has walked with me before. And if it did once, it can walk with me now. Lord, There were mornings when I woke up humming without realizing it, when my thoughts turned toward you as naturally as breathing. There were seasons when I felt your presence in the wind, in a stranger's smile, in the way sunlight touched the trees. I did not need to search for you because you were everywhere, and maybe you still are, but I have stopped noticing. The weight of unanswered questions, of long battles and quiet disappointments, has dulled my sight. Help me remember, not just with my mind, but with my spirit. Help me lean into those memories, not to cling to the past, but to awaken something dormant in me. Let the echoes of yesterday's faith stir today's hope. Let the joy I once knew remind me that I am not beyond the reach of goodness. Let the laughter I once carried remind me that sorrow does not have the final word. There was a time I danced in the kitchen to worship songs with no one watching. A time I prayed out loud while driving, tears of gratitude rolling down my cheeks for reasons I could not explain. A time when the world felt alive with purpose, and every small thing reminded me of you. Those were not fantasies. They were glimpses of what it means to live awake to your presence. And though I may not feel that way now, I believe you are the same God today as you were then. You have not changed, but maybe I have stopped reaching. Maybe I let the fog settle too long. Maybe I stopped letting joy interrupt my sadness. So today, Father, I invite those memories to return not as hauntings, as holy reminders. Remind me of the way you held me when I did not even know I was being held. Remind me of the strength you gave me when I did not realize how close I was to falling apart. Remind me of the peace that came in ordinary moments through a phone call, a verse, a song on the radio I did not expect but needed to hear. I know you were there then. I know you are here now. So help me remember how to see again. Clear the film from my eyes. Help me pay attention to the little things, the sound of breath in my chest, the smell of coffee in the morning, the way light slowly spills across the floor. Help me not to miss the sacred just because it is small. Help me remember that you often hide in ordinary places, waiting to be found again by a heart willing to look. If I am to walk forward, I need to recall where I have already seen you. Let my memory become a map. Let the moments I once overlooked become landmarks of grace. Even the times when I did not realize it was you. Even the days when I thought I was alone, but was being carried. Open the photo albums of my soul and point to the pages where your fingerprints are still pressed between every line. I do not need the past to return exactly as it was, but I need to know that the light I once held is not gone forever. That the flicker I feel inside is not just nostalgia, but a spark waiting to grow. The same God who lit the stars can reignite wonder in my weary bones. Let today begin with memory, but let it end with revival. Let remembrance give birth to renewal. I am not asking for yesterday. I am asking for the faith to believe that tomorrow can be beautiful again, and today can be enough. You are the God of then and now, the God of memory and movement. I trust that you are still writing this story, even if I am stuck on a hard chapter, and I choose, in this quiet hour, to remember what you have done so I can believe what you will do, even when I cannot feel it yet, even when I do not see the way forward. I know this H to remember is already a sign that I have not lost my way completely. It is the sound of my soul waking up again. Lord, if remembering has helped me stir something deeper inside me, then what it has also awakened is this quiet, persistent question I have carried for longer than I can say. It follows me through the hours, whispers in the background of my most ordinary days, and lingers in the stillness of morning. It is not loud, but it is constant. Who am I? Really? Not in the eyes of others, not in the echo chamber of comparison, but in yours. Who do you say I am when everything else is stripped away? There have been so many voices shaping the way I see myself. Some came from childhood, others from failure, and many from wounds that never quite healed. I've listened to them for so long. I sometimes forget they were never yours to begin with. I have worn names that did not belong to me. Too broken. Too much. Too late. Too far behind. I have carried labels I did not ask for but came to believe. I have adjusted my posture to fit expectations, swallowed my voice to avoid rejection, and doubted my worth simply because someone else could not see it. But deep down, there has always been something that resisted that distortion, a quiet knowing that I was made for more than surviving shadows, that I was not created by accident or held together by luck, that even in my confusion, I am still known. Even in my weakness, I am still loved. Even in my wrestling, I am still yours. And so, I bring this question into the light today, not demanding a sudden answer, but asking you to guide me into a deeper truth. Show me who I am when I stop trying to earn it, when I let go of performance, when I release the need to impress. Who am I when I stand still and let you name me? God. There are times I feel like I am walking in circles, chasing after a version of myself I think I am supposed to be, but never quite arriving. I exhaust myself trying to measure up to standards I do not understand. I compare my pace to people I do not even know. And all the while, I am losing sight of what actually matters. I forget that I was not created to be anyone else. I was never meant to copy someone else's voice, someone else's journey, someone else's calling. Help me untangle my identity from false attachments. Break off the need for external approval. Loosen the grip of every fear that tells me I am not enough. And if there is anything in me that has built its worth on fragile foundations, gently take it down and rebuild it with truth. Let me learn to recognize myself in the reflection of your love. Let me see what you see when you look at me before the layers, before the filters, before the scars. There are days I feel invisible, like my life is being lived in the background. Days when I wonder if what I do matters at all. But even then, there is a deeper pull in my spirit, something you placed inside me that will not let go. A knowing that you called me before I even understood what calling meant. A knowing that my existence is not an accident, but a divine intention. That every breath I take carries the imprint of purpose. Father, I do not want to just exist. I want to live as someone who knows who they are in you, not for pride, not for applause, but because clarity brings freedom. Because when I walk in the truth of who I am, I stop striving and start becoming. I stop competing and start creating. I stop hiding and start healing. So I ask you to begin this work in me, not to give me a label, but to give me light. light that reveals what shame has tried to cover, light that reminds me of my design, light that leads me back to myself. Speak to the places in me that have grown quiet from rejection. Speak to the dreams I stopped naming because disappointment made me afraid. Speak to the child within me who once believed anything was possible. Restore wonder where it has been lost. Restore dignity where it has been taken. Restore identity where it has been buried under years of pretending to be okay. You are not the author of confusion, and I know you do not delight in watching your children forget who they are. I need more than surface reassurance. I need the kind of truth that pierces through everything false and settles deep into the core of me. Let your voice be louder than the one that says, "I am falling behind." Let your voice carry more weight than the echo of past mistakes. Let your voice redefine what I thought I had to earn. I am done performing for love. I want to be transformed by it. This question is not one of doubt. It is one of desire. A desire to walk through this day grounded in something more than mood or moment. A desire to rise from this quiet place, knowing that I am not wandering aimlessly, but moving intentionally towards something you have already prepared. Even if I cannot see it, even if I am still becoming. I know that becoming starts with believing. Believing that I am who you say I am, not because I feel it every day, but because you do not change with the seasons of my emotion. Lord, if this day brings challenges, let me face them with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are held. If this day brings opportunities, let me approach them with the peace of someone who knows they are chosen. And if this day brings stillness, let me rest in the truth that even in the waiting, I am not forgotten. I am here, asking not just to be seen, but to see. Not just to be told who I am, but to believe it so deeply that it changes the way I move through the world. Let that belief be the beginning of everything that follows. Let it steady me, ground me, and carry me when nothing else feels sure. If you say, "I am yours," then that is enough for me to begin again. Father, if knowing who I am in you becomes the ground beneath my feet, then I must also learn how to hear you when everything around me begins to shake. The world is rarely quiet. Life rarely slows down long enough for clarity to feel close. And yet, you still speak. Even now, in this silence, I believe you are near, but your voice does not shout. It whispers. It leans in close while everything else tries to pull me away. I have waited for your answers to come in big, undeniable ways. I have expected you to part seas and move mountains before I would trust again. But what I am beginning to see, Lord, is that your power is not always in the volume. Sometimes, it is in the stillness that settles deeper than noise. Sometimes, it is the whisper that reaches places thunder never could. And if I am honest, that stillness unnerves me. Because when you whisper, I have to quiet everything else to hear you. Teach me how to listen again, not just to the words, but to the direction that breathes behind them. The nudges, the peace that interrupts panic, the pull toward grace when I want to defend myself, the gentle stop when I rush ahead in fear. I want to recognize the sound of your presence even when the world is loud. even when my own mind tries to drown it out with questions and assumptions. Let your whisper carry more weight than my worry. Let it cut through confusion like morning light through fog. God, I confess I have filled the quiet with my own conclusions. I have tried to guess your will instead of sitting still long enough to receive it. I have mistaken anxiety for urgency and silence for abandonment. But you have not gone silent. I have just stopped making room. So today, I lay down the need for you to answer in my way, in my timing, in my language. I ask instead for the patience to listen in yours. Remind me that your whisper is not weakness. It is mercy. It is your way of drawing me close, inviting me to lean in, to tune out what is unnecessary so I can receive what is eternal. Help me to stop demanding signs when what I need is sensitivity. I want my ears to be trained not just to hear sound, but to discern what is holy. There are moments when the chaos around me is so loud, I forget that peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of you. Let your whisper be my reminder, my reset, my returning point. Speak not only to guide me, but to ground me. Speak not just to inform me, but to transform how I respond. Not every battle needs my voice. Not every door requires my knocking. Teach me what to say yes to, and what to surrender. Lord, I think of those in Scripture who only moved after they heard you. Abraham, who walked without a map but with a promise. Moses, who waited for your instruction before lifting his staff. Mary, who said yes before she fully understood the weight of it. They did not move because everything was clear. They moved because they heard you. Let that be true for me. Let my obedience begin not with certainty, but with trust, not with details, but with direction. When I am faced with decisions that seem urgent, slow me down enough to listen. When I want to act out of fear or frustration, remind me that one whisper from you is more powerful than all the noise around me. Speak into my hesitations, into my questions, into the places that feel barren and overlooked. Remind me that the whisper is not the end of your power. It is often the beginning of something I could not yet imagine. God, I do not ask for lightning or earthquakes. I ask for clarity. I ask for the courage to believe that your whisper is enough, that I do not need more proof than your peace, that I do not need a plan if I have your prompting. If you are in the whisper, then I want to meet you there, even if it means stepping away from everything else just to hear it. Even if it means letting go of the distractions I have used to numb the waiting. Let this day be shaped by your voice. Let the rhythm of my thoughts match the cadence of your truth. Let my movements be slow enough to follow you, and my heart soft enough to respond. When you whisper, help me not to second guess. Help me not to delay. Help me not to require confirmation from those who were never meant to hear what you spoke to me in secret. Father, I am listening, not because I have everything figured out, but because I believe you are still speaking. I believe you are not finished guiding me, and I believe that your whisper can reach deeper than any shout of the world. I lean in now not with expectation for dramatic change, but with openness for divine instruction. If all you give me is one word, one step, one breath of clarity, I will follow that. I do not want to rush into my day without you. I do not want to fill the hours with noise that numbs the nearness of your presence. Let me find you in the quiet, in the in-between moments, in the space between question and answer, between movement and stillness. Let your whisper be enough to steady my soul, to order my steps, to align my desires. You do not need to shout. You only need to speak, and I will listen. Lord, if I have learned to listen for your whisper, then I must also learn to respond with my whole heart. And this morning, that response is not neat or polished. It is not calm or composed. It is raw. It is desperate. It is the cry of someone who has been holding too much for too long and no longer has the strength to keep it all inside. I come to you now not because I have the right words, but because I cannot carry this silence any longer. I feel it building in me, the questions, the unspoken grief that I keep tucked behind every "I am fine." I feel it pressing against the edges of my composure, threatening to spill over without warning. And maybe it is time. Maybe the tears I have held back are not a sign of weakness, but of yearning. Maybe they are not the end of hope, but the beginning of surrender. So I cry out now, not with perfect prayers, but with a heart that can no longer pretend. God, you already know what I am carrying, the disappointments I did not voice, the fear that clings to my thoughts, the shame that keeps whispering lies. You see the moments when I smile through the when I show up while feeling like I am unraveling inside. I have told myself to stay strong, to push through, to keep going. But what I need is not another reason to endure. What I need is a place to fall apart and know I am still loved. So here I am, falling into your mercy. Let this be the place where I stop pretending. Let this be the moment where I stop running from what hurts. I am not asking you to take it all away in an instant, though I believe you could. I am asking you to meet me in the middle of it, to sit with me in the mess, to be the one who stays when I feel too fragile to be held. There are wounds I have not named aloud, places in me that still bleed when touched. I bring them to you now not to hide, not to numb, but to offer, because I believe you do not turn away from pain. You move toward it. You draw close to the broken-hearted. You bend down to lift those who are weary from weeping. So I cry out from the depths, not because I doubt you, but because I need you. Father, help me not to be ashamed of this breaking. Help me see that it is not the end of my faith, but the expression of it. Faith is not always loud declarations and steady hands. Sometimes it is soaked pillows and shaky breaths. Sometimes it is just choosing to stay present when everything in me wants to disappear. And right now, faith looks like this moment me, undone before you, asking for help without knowing how to say it right. If I am drowning in questions, be my anchor. If I am falling apart, be the hands that hold me together. If I am overwhelmed by emotion I can't explain, be the peace that wraps around me like a blanket. You do not require explanations. You do not ask me to clean myself up before coming near. You are the one who kneels beside the broken and calls them beloved. Sometimes I wonder if I am allowed to feel this deeply, if I am supposed to move on, be strong, bounce back. But you are not rushing me. You are not pushing me forward before I am ready. You are patient. You are kind. You are a refuge, not a taskmaster. So let this cry be safe with you. Let this sobbing prayer be holy in your presence. Let this desperation become a doorway into deeper intimacy. I do not need you to explain everything, Lord. I just need to know you are still listening. I need to know that when I cry out from the deepest parts of me, you are not distant or silent. That when I can T-form words, you still understand. That when I fall at your feet, you do not step back. You lean closer. You lift me slowly. You hold me until the shaking stops. There are people I miss, dreams that feel lost, hopes I dared to carry that now feel like ashes. I bring it all here. Every name, every memory, every longing I thought would lead somewhere else. If this is the valley, then I want to walk through it alone. I will not pretend I am fine here. I will cry out. I will grieve. I will trust that you can handle it all, even the parts I hide from everyone else. Father, this H has tried to convince me that I am too much, that my sadness is inconvenient, that my needs are a burden, but your love says otherwise. Your love says I am welcome. Your love says nothing I bring to you is too heavy. So I bring the full weight of me, not to impress, not to perform, but to be known. You are not disappointed by my breaking. You are not alarmed by my tears. You created every emotion I feel. You crafted this heart that longs for healing and connection. So I stop apologizing for feeling deeply. I stop silencing what needs to be spoken. I give you the pieces and trust you with the rebuilding. Let this cry be more than pain. Let it be a beginning. Let it be the sound of chains loosening. Let it be the flood that clears space for new growth. Let it be the sound of a heart making room for healing. If this is where the breaking happens, then let it also be where the mending begins, not all at once. Not rushed, but real. God, hear my cry, not just the one that escapes my lips, but the one that stays locked inside. The one I carry into work, the one I hide behind laughter, the one I bury under responsibilities. Hear the cry that has no words, the H that lingers without reason. Meet me there. Move in that hidden place. Let my weeping be caught in your hands and return to me as strength I did not know I had. This is not just sorrow. It is surrender, not just brokenness. It is belief that I do not have to hold myself together alone. And so I cry out, trusting that you are not afraid of my need. You are moved by it. You are present in it, and you will not leave me here unheard. God, after all the tears and questions, and the honest H of crying out to you, something inside me feels quieter now, not because everything is fixed, but because I have finally stopped trying to hold it all together on my own. In that breaking, I found a strange kind of peace. And with that peace comes something harder than I expected: letting go. Not just letting go of pain, but letting go of control. Letting go of the way I thought this was supposed to look. Father, I have tried for so long to write my own map, to plan each turn, anticipate every outcome, and control every step. I have carried a version of life in my mind that I thought I needed to follow, or else everything would fall apart. I have used my own strength to force doors open, to hold things together, to chase timelines that were not mine to begin with. And though I believed in you, I still clung to my version of the path, hoping you would bless it even if it was not what you truly intended. But that kind of living is exhausting, and it does not lead to peace. It leads to pressure. It leads to fear of missing a step, of falling behind, of making a wrong turn and ruining everything. And I am tired, Lord. I am tired of gripping the pen so tightly that I can feel the softness of your hand. I am tired of pretending I have it all figured out. I am tired of fearing surrender like it is weakness, when it may actually be the doorway to the freedom I keep praying for. So I release it now, all of it. Every plan I tried to perfect, every deadline I demanded of myself, every version of life that I measured mine against. I lay it down not as a failure, but as a step of trust. Because if you are truly good, and if your ways are higher than mine, then I do not need to carry the burden of knowing everything. I only need to trust the one who does. I let go of the need to see the whole picture before I move. I let go of the belief that I must understand everything to believe in something. I let go of the pride that told me I was safer when I was in charge. The truth is, I was never really in control. I just thought I was. But now, I want something deeper than control. I want connection. I want alignment. I want the kind of peace does not depend on circumstances lining up, but on my heart being in step with yours. Lord, help me be okay with not knowing what is next. Help me trust that you are not just at the finish line, but here in the middle. That you are not waiting for me to figure it all out, but walking beside me as I learn how to release what I was never meant to carry. When I am tempted to reach for the pen again, to rewrite the plan in my own understanding, remind me that your authorship is kinder than my ambition, that your redirection is not rejection, but protection. I do not want chase after every open door. I want to follow the ones you open. I do not want to fill my days with noise just to avoid the discomfort of not having answers. I want to rest in the quiet, knowing you speak in whispers. I do not want to perform my way into purpose. I want to walk in it, freely, courageously, even if it looks different than what I imagined. So much of my fear has come from believing that if I let go, everything will fall apart. But maybe that is not true. Maybe when I let go, things finally fall into place. Not according to my vision, but yours. And I am learning that your vision is wider, deeper, fuller than mine could ever be. Teach me to move without demanding certainty. Teach me to pause when you say wait. Teach me to release when you say no. Teach me to trust that when a door closes, it is not the end of the story, but the continuation of one I have not yet read. You are not withholding. You are writing with purpose, and every delay, every detour, every disruption has meaning when it passes through your hands. Let me feel safe in surrender, not because surrender is easy, but because it is holy, because it is honest, because it brings me back to dependence. And dependence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is choosing relationship over independence. It is choosing faith over fear. It is choosing you over the illusion of control. I am not just laying down plans. Lord, I am laying down the pressure to prove myself, the expectation to always get it right, the voice that says I am behind, that I have missed my moment, that everyone else is doing better. Those voices are loud, but they are not yours. Your voice is gentle. Your pace is patient. Your guidance is steady. So I quiet the noise, and I choose to believe that walking with you is better than running ahead without you. God, when I feel the tension rise again, when I want to grasp for clarity, for certainty, for direction I can hold, remind me to hold on to you instead. You are my guide, my companion, my source of peace when the path disappears beneath my feet. I do not need to know what is 5 steps ahead. I just need to take the next one with you. Let this letting go be an offering. Let it be a sacred exchange, my fear for your peace, my plan for your promise, my grip for your grace. I do not want to just survive with a map of my own making. I want to thrive under your direction, even when it feels slow, even when it feels unclear, even when it feels different. If you are asking me to release it, then it must be because you have something better in mind, something not built from anxiety, but from assurance, something not driven by striving, but formed through surrender. And I want that now. I want what only you can build. I want to walk a path that I did not force, but that you formed with love. So here it is, my map, my plan, my control. I place it in your hands, not as a last resort, but as an act of deep trust. Not because I have failed, but because I finally understand that your way is the only way that leads to peace. I choose to walk forward, not knowing every detail, but knowing this: you are with me, and that is enough. Father, if letting go of my own map was the beginning of trust, then what follows now is even deeper. It is not just about surrendering the route. It is about surrendering the need to understand it. It is about laying everything down: my plans, my fears, my dreams, even the image I have tried to protect of who I think I am supposed to be. This morning, I step closer to the place I have been avoiding for so long. The altar, the place where surrender is no longer just a thought, but an offering. God, you have waited patiently for me here. You have not forced me. You have not rushed me. But now I see that the only way forward is through this moment, through this quiet, trembling decision to place everything I have held dear into your hands. Not just the broken pieces I have begged you to fix, but the precious things too, the good things, the things I thought I had to keep safe on my own. I bring it all now, not because I know what you will do with it, but because I trust who you are, and because this altar is not a place of loss. It is a place of love. It is not where dreams come to die. It is where they are reborn into something greater than what I could imagine. So I kneel here, heart open, hands unclenched, and I release it all into your care. I surrender the timing, the outcomes, the expectations I have wrapped around my prayers. I lay down the image I have built of what obedience should look like. I give you the desire to be in control, to earn my worth, to hold everything together with quiet desperation. I lay it all at your feet. And I do it not out of defeat, but because I am beginning to believe that surrender is not the end of strength, it is the beginning of peace. Lord, this altar is not made of stone and fire. It is made of silence and willingness. It is made of all the moments I chose to show up anyway. All the days I whispered yes through gritted teeth. All the nights I wrestled with you and still returned at dawn with my hands lifted. This altar has been built with my becoming, and now I place myself upon it, not as a sacrifice of obligation, but as an offering of trust. I give you my story, even the chapters I have tried to skip over, the ones filled with shame, disappointment, or unanswered longing. I surrender the storyline I have tried to control, the reputation I have tried to protect, the fears I have tried to silence by pretending they were not there. Take it all. I do not want to hold back pieces of my heart anymore. I do not want to give you my worship, but withhold my worries. I do not want to give you my praise and hide my pain. Father, I want to live a life laid down not because I am weak, but because I believe you are worthy. I want to choose surrender even when I do not know what is next. I want to trust that you are writing something more beautiful than I can conceive from where I stand. I want to believe that nothing placed in your hands is ever wasted. Not the waiting, not the breaking, not the becoming. So here I am, holding nothing back. Let this moment be real. Let this altar mark a turning point, not a dramatic gesture, but a quiet, powerful shift. A shift from striving to trusting, from performing to abiding, from planning every step to resting in the one who guides them. You never ask me to carry it all. You never ask me to be perfect. You never ask me to have all the answers. You asked for my heart. You asked for my faith. You asked me to follow even when the path is dim and the winds feel strong. And here I am, saying yes not because it is easy, but because I believe you are good, because deep down, I know that surrendering to you is not a loss of freedom. It is where freedom finally begins. I have carried burdens you never gave me, assumed responsibilities you never asked for. I have worn shame like armor and fear like a compass, and it has only led me to exhaustion. But now I see that the altar is not a place of punishment, it is a place of exchange. Where my burdens become light, where my wounds begin to heal, where my identity is no longer tangled in what I do or how I am seen, but rooted in who you say I am, God. I do not want to visit this altar once and move on. I want to live from it. I want every choice, every word, every breath to come from a heart that stays surrendered. Not just when it is quiet, not just when I am alone, but when the pressure rises, when I am misunderstood, when I am tempted to pick back up what I have just laid down. Teach me how to remain in surrender, to build a rhythm of releasing, again and again, until it becomes who I am. When pride tells me I need to prove myself, bring me back here. When fear says I am failing, bring me back here. When grief clouds my vision or bitterness begins to root, bring me back here, to this altar, to this sacred exchange. Let this be the place where I remember who you are and who I am becoming because of you. I may not know what is on the other side of this moment, but I know you are here, and that is enough. You are not looking for perfection. You are looking for surrender. You are not impressed by performance. You are moved by honesty. And I choose to meet you here with all that I am, not just the polished parts, but the pieces I once tried to hide. This altar is not the end of me. It is the beginning of everything you long to grow in me. I place my heart in your hands, not carefully, not cautiously, but completely. If you are asking for everything, it is because you intend to give in more in return. So I surrender now, not for a moment, but for a lifetime. Not because I understand everything, because I trust you with all that I do not. This is where I stop clinging and start becoming. And I know you will meet me here. Father, after laying everything down at the altar, I feel something shifting within me. It is not sudden or dramatic, but it is real, like dry ground slowly softening after a long season without rain. I come to you now aware that surrender has opened a door I could not force on my own. And through that door, I sense the gentle movement of your healing. Not rushed, not overwhelming, but steady, patient, and deep. God, I bring you the places in me that still ache even after I have let go. The memories that return without warning. The wounds that learned how to hide so well I almost forgot they were there. Some of them were caused by others, some by my own choices, some by circumstances I never asked for. I do not always know where the pain began, but I know where I want it to end. I want it to end in your hands. I ask you now to let your healing move through me like a living river, not skimming the surface, but flowing into the depths I avoid. Touch the places I keep guarded, the thoughts that replay old scenes, the emotions that tighten without explanation, the fatigue that settles in my bones when I least expect it. Let your presence move gently but firmly through every layer of me. Where there has been numbness, bring sensation. Where there has been sorrow, bring relief. Where there has been damage, bring restoration. Lord, I have learned to function with pain instead of confronting it. I have learned how to adapt, how to cope, how to keep going. But coping is not the same as healing. And today, I am asking for more than survival. I am asking for wholeness. I do not want to carry wounds as part of my identity anymore. I want to carry wisdom without bleeding. I want to remember without reliving. I want to move forward without dragging the past behind me. If healing takes time, teach me patience. If healing requires honesty, give me courage. If healing asks me to feel what I have avoided, hold me steady while I do. I trust that you will not expose what you do not intend to restore. You are careful with fragile things. You do not rush the mending of a heart. You heal with intention, with tenderness, with truth. God, let this healing reach not only my emotions, but my thoughts. Cleanse the patterns that formed in pain, the assumptions I made about myself, about others, about life. Replace the lies I believed in survival with truth that leads to freedom. Where I learned to expect disappointment, Teach me hope again, where I learn to brace for loss. Teach me trust again, where I learn to silence my needs. Teach me how to receive care. I invite you into my body as well, into the tension I carry without noticing, into the weariness that sleep does not always fix, into the stress that settles in my shoulders, my chest, my breath. You are not distant from the physical parts of me. You formed them. You understand how deeply connected my body and spirit are, so I ask you to restore balance, to bring peace where there has been strain, to renew strength where exhaustion has taken root. Father, healing does not erase my story. It redeems it. It does not pretend the hurt never happened. It transforms what happened into something that no longer controls me. And I want that transformation. I want to look back without flinching. I want to speak of the past without shrinking. I want to carry compassion instead of bitterness, clarity instead of confusion, confidence instead of fear. Let your healing be thorough, not selective, not partial. I give you permission to work in places I do not fully understand, to touch areas I forgot to name, to restore connections within me that were fractured by loss or neglect. I do not ask you to rush. I ask you to remain, to keep flowing, to keep healing. God, if there are layers of pain I uncover slowly, walk with me through each one. If there are days when healing feels distant, remind me that progress is not always visible, that growth often happens beneath the surface, that roots strengthen before branches appear. Help me trust the process even when I cannot measure it. I choose not to resist this healing. I choose not to minimize my pain or magnify it beyond hope. I choose to believe that you are capable of restoring what was taken, repairing what was damaged, and renewing what was worn down. Not because I deserve it, but because you are good. Let this river continue to flow through my life. Let it soften what has hardened. Let it cleanse what has been polluted by fear or shame. Let it carry away what no longer belongs to me. I do not need to hold on to pain to honor what I have been through. I can release it and still remember. I can heal and still be wise. Father, I receive your healing not as a distant promise, but as a present work, even now, even here, even if it begins quietly. I trust that what you touch will not remain the same. And as this healing continues, I choose to remain open, patient, and willing. I will not rush ahead of you. I will not close myself off again. I will stay here, allowing your presence to do what only you can do. This healing is not just for me. It is shaping the way I will love, the way I will listen, the way I will walk forward. And I welcome it fully, believing that the same hands that received my surrender are now restoring my strength, one gentle movement at a time. Lord, now that your healing has begun to move through me like a river, I feel something else rising with it, something deeper, something that cannot be separated from wholeness. I feel the weight of forgiveness calling me, gently but unmistakably, and I realize that healing cannot complete its work without this next step. Forgiveness is not just a quiet act of grace. It is the pathway to full release. And today, I want to take that path. Father, I know you have forgiven me. I heard those words in sermons, read them in scriptures, repeated them to myself during guilt-filled nights. But what I need now is more than just a theological truth. I need the lived experience of forgiveness. I need to feel it in the places I still carry shame, in the memories that surface uninvited, in the silent accusations that still linger long after grace has been spoken. I open my heart now, not just to receive forgiveness again, but to walk in it, to let it settle into the spaces I have tried to redeem on my own. I lay down every mistake I still try to fix with performance, every wrong I try to outrun, every moment I wish I could undo. You have not asked me to earn forgiveness. You have only asked me to receive it. So I do. Lord, I receive it not casually, but with reverence, not as a reward, but as a gift. Let it wash over the versions of me that I have hated, the attitudes that hurt others, the selfish decisions I tried to bury, the fears that kept me from trusting you, the words I regret, the actions I wish I could take back. I bring all of it into the light, believing you are not surprised by any of it, and that you still choose to stay. God, let this forgiveness not just be for my own peace. Let it become a spring that overflows into how I see others, because I know that as long as I hold onto offense, resentment, or blame, I am still carrying what you have called me to release. I do not want to hold people hostage in my heart. I do not want to be defined by who hurt me or what they took. I want to forgive not because they asked, not because they deserve it, but because I deserve to be free. There are names that rise in my thoughts now, faces connected to pain, people who left wounds, people who never said sorry, people who may never understand the way they hurt me. And I have held those moments like stones in my hand, believing I was protecting myself, when really, I was only weighing myself down. I bring those names to you now, not in bitterness, but in surrender, not with clenched fists, but with open hands. I release them to you. I release the need for apology, for justice, for closure in the form I expected. I trust you to be the judge, the healer, the one who sees the whole story, and I let go not to deny what happened, but to deny it the power to control me any longer. Lord, forgiveness is not forgetting. It is remembering without reliving. It is seeing the scar and knowing the wound has closed. It is saying, "This hurt me," and still choosing to bless rather than curse. I cannot do that alone. I need your spirit to soften me, to free me from the story of victimhood, to remind me that even what was meant for harm can be woven into redemption. Teach me how to forgive daily, not just once, not just when I feel spiritual enough, but again and again, when offense tries to take root, when old pain resurfaces, when I find myself rehearsing what I thought I had released. Make forgiveness the rhythm of my walk with you, a rhythm that leads to peace, to clarity, to power rooted in mercy. Father, help me forgive myself, too. Sometimes that is the hardest part. I have been so quick to extend grace to others, but so reluctant to offer it inward. I have punished myself with silence, with shame, with a running commentary of what I should have done differently. But you do not speak in that voice. You do not condemn. You convict gently for the sake of growth. So I silence the inner critic and make room for the voice of truth, the voice that says, "You are forgiven," the voice that sees the whole journey, not just my worst moments, the voice that leads me back to love. I choose today to agree with that voice. I choose to believe I can move forward without dragging the chains of regret behind me. Let forgiveness shape the way I show up in relationships. Let it soften the way I speak, the way I assume, the way I respond. Let it protect me from bitterness, from cynicism, from building walls that keep love out. Let it open me up to reconciliation where possible, and peace where it is not. Let it make me tender again. God, you are the source of all forgiveness. You gave it before we ever asked. You modeled it in the moments when pain was most unjust. You whispered it even as you were being wounded. And if that kind of love lives in me, then I can walk in that love too, not in my strength, but in yours. This forgiveness is not passive. It is powerful. It breaks chains, shifts atmospheres, and opens doors I never thought would move. It restores dignity. It reclaims joy. It makes space for healing to last. I receive it. I release it. I walk in it today and every day after, not as a duty, but as a declaration that I belong to you, that I have been made new, and that grace is not just something I speak. It is something I choose to live. Lord, after releasing what I could not fix and forgiving what I could not change, I now feel the need for something quieter, but just as powerful. Not a word, not a cry, not a response. Just stillness. And not the stillness that comes from exhaustion or giving up, but the stillness that comes from trust, a rooted stillness, a strength that holds firm not because everything makes sense, but because it no longer has to. Father, I have spent so much of my life in motion, always thinking, always planning, always trying to stay one step ahead of my fears. It made me feel like I was doing something, like I was in control. But I see now that not all movement is progress. Some of it is just noise. Some of it is just avoidance. Some of it has been a way to outrun my need to simply be with you. And I do not want to live like that anymore. So today I choose to be still, not as an escape, but as a declaration that you are God and I am not, that your presence is not earned through effort, that your voice is not drowned by quiet, that my identity is not proved through striving. Stillness is not passivity. It is alignment. It is the soul's way of saying, I trust you even here. God, teach me how to rest not just in body, but in spirit. I have grown so used to tension, to holding everything tightly, to scanning for what might go wrong. I want to unlearn that habit. I want to let my shoulders relax, my heart slow down, my thoughts settle. Let this stillness become sacred space where you do what only you can, where peace is not temporary, but foundational, where trust replaces anxiety, not because I understand everything, but because I trust you with what I do not. Stillness is strength because it resists the urge to prove something. It stays grounded when emotion surges. It listens when the world screams. It does not rush. It does not react. It does not compete. In stillness, I remember who I am. More importantly, I remember who you are, the God who does not panic, the God who does not waver, the God who still speaks in silence. Father, meet me in this quiet. I want to fill it with explanations or plans. I want to demand you speak on my timeline. I will simply wait. Not passively, but with holy expectancy. Not anxiously, but with open hands. This stillness is an act of faith. A confession that I believe you are already working. Already moving, already present whether I feel it or not. Help me resist the urge to rush past this moment. Help me recognize the gift it carries. There is healing in this stillness. There is wisdom. There is clarity. There is deep, lasting strength. The kind that grows beneath the surface. The kind that sustains, not flashes. The kind that roots before it rises. I know the world tells me to hustle, to fix, to earn, to be loud in order to be heard. But you say something different. You say, be still and know. And I want to live from that knowing. I want to wake each day not desperate for direction, but centered in your presence. Not frantic for answers, but confident in your nearness. Lord, stillness allows me to hear the whispers I miss when I am busy. It allows me to feel your nearness in ways no sermon or song can explain. It reminds me that I am not defined by what I produce. That grace is not on a timer. That peace is not a prize for doing enough. Stillness is the soil where trust grows, where faith is fed, where healing is watered. I know now that strength is not always bold. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is choosing not to respond to every fear that knocks. Sometimes it is standing firm when everything else calls me to run. Let me stand in this stillness. Let me breathe deeply here. Let me build my life not on the urgency of my emotions, but on the unshakable truth of who you are. This stillness is not empty. It is full of you. It is filled with the weight of your presence. It holds the echo of every promise you have spoken. It carries the peace that passes understanding. I do not need to perform here. I do not need to prepare the next thing. I just need to stay. Stay aware. Stay open. Stay quiet long enough for my soul to be reminded that you are enough. Father, when the next wave of noise tries to pull me back, when distraction knocks loud and fear tries to rise again, let me return to this place. Let this stillness be my anchor. Let it be the posture of my heart, not just now, but throughout the day. In conversation, in conflict, in waiting, let me carry stillness with me, like a sacred rhythm beneath all that I do. Let others feel it too, not as detachment, but as presence. Let them sense the calm you have placed in me and be drawn to the source of it. Let my stillness become a witness that you are real, that you are close, that trust is more than belief. It is posture. It is breath. It is staying when everything else says flee. God, if you want to do anything in me today, begin here. Begin in this holy stillness, where my defenses fall, where my striving ceases, where I remember again that I am held, I am known, I am safe. Let this stillness be more than a break. Let it be a beginning. Let it be the foundation you build on. Let it shape the way I listen, the way I move, the way I live. You are not far. You have never been. I just needed to be still long enough to remember, and now that I am here, I want to rush away. I will linger in this silence. I will let the world pause. I will let my spirit settle, because I know in this stillness, you are not just near, you are enough. Father, out of the stillness, something is shifting, not just in my heart, but in the way I see. Stillness has quieted the noise long enough for truth to begin rising to the surface. And now, I feel you gently turning my gaze inward, toward the thoughts I carry, the stories I have told myself, and the beliefs that have shaped my inner world. It is time for a new morning in my mind, not just around me, but within me. God, I confess that my thoughts are often the loudest voices in the room. They dictate how I feel before my day even begins. They color every interaction, shape every decision, and filter every truth you try to plant. I have learned how to smile while my thoughts spiral, how to function while quietly battling doubt, how to move forward while my mind whispers limitations I have come to believe. But today, I invite you into that space, the silent battlefield, where so much of my life has been fought. I invite you into the lies I have made peace with, the labels I have accepted, the fears I have rehearsed, the assumptions I have never challenged. I bring you the inner dialogue I have allowed to shape me, even when it did not align with your voice. I want to think differently, not just positively. Truthfully, I want my mind to be renewed, not just distracted. I want it to be transformed by your word, not twisted by the worries of the day. I want it to be a place of peace, not panic, a home for truth, not a breeding ground for fear. I want my mind to be a place where you are welcome, where wisdom is planted, and where peace becomes a default, not a desperate reach. Lord, show me where my thoughts have grown wild without tending, where patterns have developed from pain instead of healing, where cycles keep spinning not because I want them to, but because I have never paused long enough to interrupt them. Interrupt them now, gently, but firmly. Speak into the loops that replay failure, fear, and frustration. Break the repetition of self-doubt and scarcity. I surrender my imagination to you. I surrender my intellect, my overthinking, my tendency to expect the worst as a way to protect myself from disappointment. I surrender the storylines I have rehearsed about being behind, being forgotten, being too much or not enough. Let a new narrative take root, one written not by fear or past experiences, but by truth that is eternal. Father, help me discern which thoughts are from you and which are echoes of old wounds. Help me hold every thought up to the light of truth. If it brings shame, it is not from you. If it stirs fear without direction, it is not from you. If it steals my peace, it is not carrying your voice. Let your word be the lens through which I interpret everything. Let it renew me day by day. Teach me how to pause before I agree with every thought that enters. Teach me to challenge the ones that do not align with your heart. I do not want to walk through another day assuming that everything I think is true. I want to be intentional, discerning, anchored, not swept away by every mental current. Let my thoughts be a garden you can walk in, not a storm you must calm. God, I know there will still be days when doubt creeps in, when fear shows up uninvited. But I also know that transformation does not require perfection. It only requires persistence, a willingness to come back to truth again and again. Even when it is hard, I choose that today. I choose to show up for the work of renewal. I choose to give you access to the deepest places in me, not just the ones others see, but the ones only you know. Let this renewal shape the way I see others too. Let it soften the judgments I have formed in my mind. Let it replace criticism with curiosity, harshness with compassion, defensiveness with humility. As you change the way I think, change the way I perceive. Give me eyes to see others through the lens of grace, not just as problems to solve or threats to avoid, but as people, loved and in process, just like me. I want my mind to be a safe place, not just for myself, but for the work you want to do through me. A place where peace can be planted, where ideas can grow, where discernment can rise, where hope is not dismissed as naive, but welcomed as holy. I want to think like someone who is free. I want to process life like someone who trusts you with the unknown. I want to make decisions from a place of peace, not pressure. Father, this is not just about mental health. It is about spiritual wholeness, about creating space for wisdom to take root, for clarity to settle in, for direction to become clear. I cannot always change what happens around me, but I can allow you to change what happens within me, and that shift changes everything. This morning, I open the windows of my mind and let the light in. I let truth chase out the shadows. I let grace reframe the thoughts I have lived with for too long. Let today be a beginning not just of new habits, but of new patterns. Let truth become the rhythm that guides my thinking. Let stillness continue to be my strength. Let peace be the guard that surrounds every thought, every choice, every response. You said we are transformed by the renewing of our minds, not by trying harder, not by knowing more, but by surrendering the way we think and allowing you to reshape it in love. I say yes to that process. I say yes to the quiet reordering that begins in this moment, continues with every thought. Choose to take captive and submit to truth. And as I walk into the day, let it be with a renewed mind, not ruled by anxiety, but anchored in your presence, not driven by pressure, but led by peace. Let this be the new morning, not just outside my window, but inside my mind. A place where you are welcome, a place where healing continues, a place where truth is not only heard, but believed. Father, now that you have begun renewing my mind, I find myself standing at a threshold I did not know I needed to cross. With every untrue thought dismantled, there is now space for something true to rise. And in this new space, you are speaking not just about what is around me, but about who I am, not who I have tried to be, not who others have named me, not who failure has called me, but who you say I am. Lord, there has been a quiet H in me for as long as I can remember, a longing to be known, to be seen rightly, to be accepted without conditions. I have spent years shaping myself in response to expectations, afraid to disappoint, desperate to be enough. And somewhere along the way, I started measuring my worth by the reaction of others. Their approval became a mirror I stood in front of, hoping to catch a glimpse of who I might be. But their silence distorted me. Their praise confused me. Their rejection wounded me. But you, God, you see clearly. You see through every mask, every defense, every layer I have built to survive. And still, you call me by name, not a name rooted in shame, or insecurity, or striving, but one spoken in love, chosen before time, etched into eternity. You do not label me by my lowest moments. You do not define me by the worst thing I have done, or the hardest season I have walked through. You define me by grace. So today I choose to agree with you. I lay down the old names unworthy, broken, forgotten, too much, not enough. I refuse to carry them any longer. I am not what fear says I am. I am not the echo of failure. I am not the product of pain. I am who you say I am. And you say I am yours. You say I am beloved. You say I am chosen, set apart, and called. Let this truth not just echo in my ears for a moment, but settle deep in my identity. Let it become the foundation I build on, the filter through which I interpret life. Let it correct the way I speak about myself. Let it confront the lies I have believed. Let it hold me steady when the opinions of others begin to shift. Let it be louder than comparison, more constant than criticism, more certain than self-doubt. Father, if I am who you say I am, then I do not have to live to prove myself. I do not have to perform my way into acceptance. I do not have to shape myself to fit into spaces that cannot hold the weight of who I truly am. I can walk in the freedom of being fully known and fully loved. I can show up without shrinking. I can speak without second-guessing. I can rest without guilt. You have called me a new creation. You have named me redeemed. You have declared me free. And I want those truths to not just be theological facts, but lived realities. I want to walk through this day like someone who believes they are chosen. I want to serve from a place of security, love from a place of fullness, and lead from a place of humility rooted in identity. God, remind me that identity precedes action, that before I do anything, I am already someone in your eyes. I do not become more loved by getting it right. I do not become less valuable when I get it wrong. I do not disappear when I fail. I do not inflate when I succeed. My worth is fixed in you, and that makes everything else fall into place. When I am tempted to revert to old labels, stop me. When I compare myself to others, center me. When I feel unqualified or unseen, remind me that you called me not because of who I was, but because of who you are. And if you have placed something in me, then no one can take it away. No circumstance can undo it. No voice can cancel it. Let this identity shape the way I treat others. Let it make me generous with grace, secure enough to celebrate others, confident enough to speak truth without arrogance. Let it free me from jealousy, from fear of being overlooked, from insecurity that drives division. When I know who I am, I no longer need to compete. I no longer need to control. I no longer need to hide. Father, help me steward this identity, well, not just believe it privately, but live it boldly. Let my posture shift. Let my countenance change. Let the way I walk reflect the truth that I am not lost, not wandering, not fragmented, but grounded in love that does not change. Let this knowing become unshakable. You say, I am light. You say, I am a temple. You say, I am royalty in your kingdom. You say, I am equipped, capable, filled with your spirit, and called to do good works prepared in advance. Let me believe this even when I feel inadequate. Let me believe this even when the evidence around me seems to say otherwise. Let me believe it because you said it. And when doubt creeps in again, as it always tries to do, let me return to this truth. Let me rehearse it. Let me declare it. Let me choose it again and again until it becomes the deepest truth I know, until the old names lose their power, until I walk freely into every room without shrinking, without needing to impress, without fearing I am not enough. God, you do not just love who I will become. You love who I am right now, even in process, even in tension, even in weakness. You look at me and call me worthy because you see me through the lens of Christ, through the lens of redemption, through the lens of grace. And if you have spoken it, I will not argue with you. I will believe it, receive it, and live like it is true. This is not just about self-esteem. It is about divine identity. It is about seeing myself as a reflection of your creativity, your purpose, and your delight. Let that vision shape how I move through this day. Let it affect my relationships, my decisions, my thoughts, my prayers. Let me no longer ask, who am I to do this? But instead ask, who are you, that you would call me? And trust that your calling is confirmation enough. So here I stand, Lord, not in my old name, not in my past, not in fear. I stand in truth, in grace, in identity. I am yours, and that changes everything. Lord, if knowing who I am in you has changed the way I see myself, then now I must learn to walk in that identity, not just to carry it in theory, but to embody it in motion, to let it shape not only how I feel when I am praying, but how I move through the world when the day gets loud. Because it is one thing to say, I am yours. It is another to live like it, to walk like someone who has been called, chosen, and covered by grace. Father, I do not want to only receive truth in stillness. I want to carry it into activity, into traffic, into conversation, into responsibility. I want the peace you give me in prayer to remain with me in pressure. I want the security you whisper in secret to follow me into spaces where insecurity used to lead. Let me walk like someone who believes they are loved, like someone who does not have to strive to belong, like someone whose worth is not on trial in every room. Help me remember that walking in worth does not mean walking in pride. It means walking in alignment. It means choosing words that reflect dignity, making decisions from a place of conviction instead of fear, leading without dominating, serving without losing myself, showing up fully, not shrinking, not pretending, not performing. I want to be steady, not driven by mood or reaction, but led by truth. Lord, teach me what it means to walk with quiet confidence. Not arrogance, not self-protection, but that kind of deep, settled assurance that comes from being rooted in something unshakable. I want to enter rooms with peace, not with performance. I want to leave behind the need to over-explain or prove myself. I want to walk knowing that you go before me and behind me, that I am not alone even when I feel exposed. God, you know how easy it is to forget, to go from a holy moment of clarity straight into a spiral of doubt. The world speaks so loudly. My own insecurities whisper when no one else does. So I need you to remind me throughout the day, through nudges, through quiet moments, through unexpected grace. Remind me that I am still who you say I am, even when I do not feel like it, even when I make mistakes, even when others do not see it. Let my posture reflect the identity I carry, not just physically, but spiritually. Let me stand tall, speak truth, extend kindness. Let me walk in integrity, even when no one is watching. Let me choose forgiveness when bitterness feels easier. Let me return to hope when cynicism tries to take root. Let me be slow to speak, quick to listen, and generous with love. Not because I am trying to earn anything, but because I am living from what I have already received. Father, when I am tempted to shrink back into old patterns, into hiding, into overthinking, into silence, remind me that I do not have to. I am not that person anymore. I do not have to live small to stay safe. I do not have to silence my voice to keep peace. I do not have to carry shame into places you have already redeemed. You have given me permission to take up space, not in pride, but in purpose. Let the way I walk reflect the one who walks with me. Let my presence carry your presence. Let the peace in me be a witness. Let the love in me interrupt chaos. Let the hope in me become contagious. I do not want to just survive the day. I want to leave behind traces of light everywhere I go, in my words, in my tone, in the way I see people, in the way I carry myself even when no one else is looking. God, walking in worth does not mean I never feel fear. It means I do not let fear decide. It does not mean I never doubt. It means I bring my doubt to you instead of letting it lead me. It means I show up even when I feel unqualified. I speak even when my voice shakes. I try again even when failure feels fresh. I live like someone who trusts not in her own perfection, but in your sufficiency. When the world tries to measure me by productivity, remind me that worth was never meant to be earned. When my efforts feel unseen, remind me that you notice everything, even the faithfulness no one applauds. when comparison creeps in and tells me I am not as far along, not as impressive, not as capable. Speak louder. Remind me that my worth is not based on pace or platform, but on your promise. Lord, let the fruit of knowing who I am in you show up in the ordinary, in how I send an email, in how I greet a stranger, in how I respond to interruption, in how I treat the people closest to me. Let it not just be in big moments or spiritual highs, but in the hidden spaces. Let it be sincere, not strategic. Let it be real, not rehearsed. Let my feet be grounded in peace, not rushing to prove. Let my hands be open, not clenched in fear. Let my shoulders be relaxed, not carrying burdens I was never meant to bear. Let my eyes be clear, not clouded by what-ifs or regrets. And let my voice be steady, not because I have figured it all out, but because I trust the one who walks beside me. Father, I know this journey won't always be easy. Some days I will forget. Some days I will wrestle with the same insecurities that once ruled me. But even then, you are patient. You walk with me at my pace. You remind me again and again who I am. You invite me back to truth every time I wander, so I will keep walking not perfectly, but purposefully. I will keep showing up. I will keep choosing peace over pressure, presence over performance, and truth over fear. This walk is not about being seen. It is about being steady. It is not about looking the part. It is about living from a deep well that does not run dry. So fill me again, Lord. Fill me with courage, with clarity, with grace for every step. Let this be the way I move through the world, not in search of worth, but in the freedom of having already found it in you. Father, now that I have learned to walk in the worth you have spoken over me, I feel you gently preparing my heart for something more, for the places I have not yet seen, the steps I have not yet taken. I sense that the next stretch of this journey won't always be clear, and that is why I need more than direction. I need courage. Courage not for the predictable, but for the unknown, for the path that wins through uncertainty, through quiet assignments, through unseen obedience. Lord, I admit that I like to know where I am going. I like outlines, maps, plans, and signposts. I find comfort in the visible, but you often lead through whispers, through impressions, through steps that do not always make sense until I have taken them. And though part of me wrestles with that, a deeper part is learning to welcome it. Because if it is you who is leading, then even the unseen road becomes holy ground. Still, I need your courage to walk it. Not the kind of courage that comes from knowing everything will go smoothly, but the kind that chooses to keep moving even when I do not. The kind that whispers yes when fear shouts no. The kind that stays faithful when nothing feels certain. I am not asking you to show me the entire picture. I am asking you to steady me for the next step. Give me courage for the quiet assignments, the ones that do not get applause or recognition, the moments where no one sees the faithfulness but you, the decisions I make in private that align with integrity, the conversations where I speak truth gently, even when my voice trembles, the acts of love I extend without expecting anything in return. God, it takes courage to be consistent, to keep sowing when I do not yet see fruit, to keep showing up when progress feels invisible, to remain kind when I am misunderstood, to forgive again when bitterness knocks, to believe again after disappointment. These small things require more bravery than the world often recognizes. But you see, you notice, you honor even the hidden sacrifices. Let that be enough for me. Let me find strength not in results, but in obedience, not in outcomes, but in faithfulness. Let my motivation be your voice, not human validation. Let the quiet yes carry as much weight in heaven as the loud declarations that catch attention. Let me walk this unseen path, not with fear of missing out, but with confidence that I am right where you need me. Lord, some paths are lonely. Some assignments require silence, pruning, waiting. I do not want to run from those seasons. I want to meet you in them. I want to see what can only be revealed when everything else is stripped away. The growth that happens in obscurity. The character that forms in the shadows. The roots that deepen when no one else is watching. Give me courage to obey without conditions. Not if it works. Not if they notice. Not if it feels good, but simply because you said go. I want that kind of trust, that kind of devotion, that kind of strength that does not flinch when the road gets narrow, or unfamiliar, or misunderstood by others. When I look ahead and see nothing but fog, help me remember that just because I can see the road does not mean you have left. You are in the fog. You are in the silence. You are in the tension between steps. You are the light, even when I feel blind. Father, when the enemy tries to paralyze me with fear of the future, of rejection, of failure, speak louder. Remind me that I was not called to a life of safety, but a life of surrender. That courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be ruled by it. That you have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. Let that truth root deep in me. Let it anchor me when anxiety swells. Let it be the voice I reach for when worry begins to rise. I may not know what lies ahead, but I know you are already there. Preparing provision, preparing grace, preparing lessons that will shape me, even if they stretch me first. God, give me courage to believe that what I carry matters, even when it seems small. Courage to trust that my voice, my obedience, my love, my prayers are planting seeds I may not see bloom today. Courage to remain faithful to this present moment, instead of always longing for the next. Courage to let go of timelines and trust your pace. Help me see the unseen path as an invitation, not a punishment, a sacred place where I learn to depend on you more deeply, where my senses sharpen, where my intimacy with you deepens. Let this path train me not just for what I will do someday, but for who I am becoming now. Lord, when others question the path I have chosen, help me not to doubt. When they do not understand why I have said no, something good or logical, remind me that your ways are not always obvious, but they are always purposeful. I choose obedience over optics. I choose trust over approval. Give me courage to keep my eyes on you, not on the crowd, not on the metrics, not on the milestones. Let every step be an act of worship. Let every hesitation become a moment of surrender. Let every breath remind me that I do not walk alone. I do not want to be famous. I want to be faithful. I do not need to be impressive. I want to be obedient. I do not want to go viral. I want to go deeper, deeper into trust, deeper into presence, deeper into the unseen places where eternity is shaped one step at a time. So walk with me. Father, steady my feet, clear my heart. Even if you do not clear the path, let courage rise not as a moment, but as a lifestyle. Let it be the way I wake up, the way I respond, the way I lead, the way I wait. And when I begin to forget, bring me back to this prayer, back to this sacred resolve, back to the quiet strength that trusts you when nothing else makes sense. This is the path you have chosen for me, and I choose it too, even when I cannot see far ahead, even when it is harder than I expected, even when it requires more of me than I thought I could give. Because if you are leading, I will follow. If you are walking beside me, I am already home, and with you, I will find courage again and again. Lord, now that I have found courage to take steps along the unseen path, I sense you turning my attention to something more immediate, not the distant unknown, not the long arc of purpose, but today, this day, this moment, the assignment before me right now. And if I am to honor you with this breath, I need strength that is not borrowed from yesterday's victories or tomorrow's hopes. I need strength for today. Father, you know how often I have overreached into the future, trying to prepare for what has not arrived, imagining battles I may never face, exhausting myself over what I cannot control, and in doing so, I miss the sacredness of now. I miss the weight of this present hour, but I do not want to live like that anymore. I do not want to fear the future or rehearse it in my mind. I want to live fully awake to what you have placed in front of me. So I pause here with open hands and ask you to give me strength for the assignment of today, for the conversations that require patience, for the decisions that demand clarity, for the work that may feel unnoticed, for the emotional labor that comes with loving well, strength not in theory, but in the marrow of who I am, strength that sustains when my energy dips, when discouragement sneaks in, when interruptions arrive uninvited. God, remind me that today matters, that faithfulness is not built in grand declarations, but in small obediences, that showing up, being kind, choosing grace, speaking truth, these are sacred acts, even when they feel mundane. Let me not underestimate the power of consistency. Let me not overlook the hollowness of doing the next right thing, even when it is small, even when no one claps. You have entrusted me with people today, responsibilities, today, time today. And while I do not know everything the day will hold, you do. So I choose to walk in step with you, not racing ahead, not lagging behind. Let me be alert to your nudges, sensitive to your whispers, willing to pivot when you redirect. Let me see the people in front of me. Really see them, not just as tasks or distractions, but as image bearers of the one who sends me. Father, when I am tempted to resent the limits of today, the unglamorous tasks, the repetitive moments, the things I thought I would be beyond by now, remind me that you often shape destiny through discipline, through showing up again, through giving my best even when the setting is not ideal, through trusting that hidden faithfulness is never wasted. When fatigue creeps in and whispers that I do not have what it takes, remind me that strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet resilience that simply refuses to quit, the resolve that rises not from adrenaline, but from trust. Trust that you are with me, that you are working through me, that you are enough even when I feel stretched. God, give me strength not just to do but to be present, to be gentle, to be joyful even when it would be easier to complain, to be generous with grace, even when I feel poured out, to be focused, even when distractions pull. Help me embrace the pace you have assigned me. Whether today is filled with activity or hiddenness, whether it feels exciting or routine, whether I am with many or walking quietly. Let me not despise the assignment of today just because it does not look like someone else's. Let me not delay obedience because I am waiting for something more impressive. Let me treat today like sacred ground, because it is where life happens, where transformation is worked out, where you show up again and again in the ordinary, reminding me that there is nothing ordinary when you are present. Father, strengthen my inner life, not just my hands for labor, but my heart for loving, my mind for discerning, my spirit for listening. Let everything I do flow from who I am in you, not rushed, not reactive, but rooted. Let my strength come from abiding, not achieving, from being deeply connected to the vine, not endlessly striving to bear fruit. When I feel overlooked, remind me that you see. When I feel behind, remind me that your timing is never rushed. When I feel unsure, remind me that I was never meant to rely on my own understanding. And when I feel weak, remind me that you specialize in working through weakness, that you fill what is empty, that you breathe life into tired places. Let this strength not be performance-based, but promise-based. Let it be the kind that stays when pressure rises, the kind that chooses peace instead of panic, the kind that remains kind when tempers flare, the kind that finishes the day not with burnout, but with quiet joy in having walked with you. Lord, help me discern what truly matters today. Help me know what to say no to, so I can say yes to what you are breathing on. Don T, let me confuse urgency with importance. Don T, let me give my best energy to things that do not carry eternal weight. Give me strength to prioritize presence over productivity, to value people over projects, to slow down enough to love well. I do not want to just get through the day. I want to honor you with it. I want to walk in step with your spirit. I want to finish this day, however it unfolds, knowing I responded with grace, gave what I could, trusted you with what I could not, and carried peace through it all. This is today's assignment, not yesterday's regrets, not tomorrow's unknowns. Just today. This is the moment you have given me, and you are here in it. So I will lean into you. I will trust that your strength is sufficient, that your presence is enough, that your wisdom will meet me when I ask, and that this day, no matter how small it may seem, has value because you are in it. So here I am, Lord, ready not because I have it all together, but because I know you go with me. Strengthen me from the inside out. Let every step, every word, every interaction carry the fragrance of your nearness. Let me walk through this day not striving for strength, but surrendered to it. Father, now that you have strengthened me for today's assignment, I begin to see that there is something even deeper you want to anchor into the rhythm of my days. It is not just endurance. It is not just obedience. It is joy. Not the kind that flares in emotional highs or disappears with the first sign of trouble, but the kind that stays. The kind that runs deep. The kind that blooms right in the middle of ordinary life. Even when nothing is perfect, God, I have often thought joy was something I had to wait for. That it belonged to a different season, a better day, a more peaceful outcome, a chapter without mess or pressure. I have postponed joy, thinking it only belonged at the finish line. But you are showing me something different now. That joy is not a reward. It is a companion. It walks with me, not because everything is easy, but because you are with me. Let this truth settle in me. I do not need to wait for joy. I can welcome it now. I can make space for it, even in struggle. I can choose it, not as a denial of difficulty, but as a declaration of faith. Joy does not mean I am ignoring what is hard. It means I am remembering who you are in the midst of it. It means I am refusing to let sorrow be the only voice in the room. Lord, teach me how to recognize joy in the small things, in the smile I did not force, in the conversation that feels like sunlight, in the breath that slows, in the quiet kindnesses that stitch hope back together. Let me stop overlooking joy because it is not loud or dramatic. Let me see it for what it is, a miracle tucked inside the mundane. I know now that joy is not the absence of trial, but the presence of trust. Trust that you are still good. Trust that the story is still unfolding. Trust that even here, in the in-between, you are worthy of celebration. Let that trust open the door for joy to walk in. Let it sit beside me, even in the waiting, even in the tension. Let it change how I carry the weight of this day. God, I have carried heaviness for so long that lightness almost feels unfamiliar. But I believe you want more for me than survival. You want me to live in abundance, not just of responsibility, but of joy, not just of burden, but of beauty. So I invite joy to return. I welcome it back to the places I shut down in disappointment, to the dreams I labeled too late, to the moments I used to savor, but have since rushed through. Let laughter return where silence has settled. Let awe return where cynicism grew. Let gratitude return where routine made me numb. You are the God who dances over his children, who rejoices with singing. If joy is in your nature, then let it become part of mine too. Let it not feel foreign or fleeting, but familiar and firm. Father, when joy feels distant, let me pursue it like treasure. Let me fight for it like freedom. Let me guard it like peace. Because joy is not shallow, it is sacred. It is strength. It is the music under the noise of life that reminds me I am still alive, that there is still beauty, that there is still goodness, even in a broken world. Let joy be my protest against despair. Let it be my resistance to the lie that things will never get better. Let it be my declaration that I serve a God who brings light out of darkness, hope out of ashes, laughter out of barren places. And when others ask how I can still smile, still sing, still breathe peace in chaos, let the answer be simple. Because I know who holds me. Because I know joy is not circumstantial, it is spiritual. Help me become a carrier of joy, not just for myself, but for others. Let it leak from my presence. Let it color my words. Let it shift the atmosphere when I enter a room. Let my life reflect a heart that knows the weight of grief, but chooses to dance anyway. Let me remind others that it is not too late to feel again, to celebrate again, to laugh again. Lord, help me live with eyes wide open to what is good. Let me notice the kindness that lingers, the beauty that remains, the miracles hiding in plain sight. Let me be interrupted by joy, by the way the light hits the floor, by a child's voice, by a melody that stirs something old and hopeful inside me. Teach me to slow down long enough to savor what is already here. When sorrow tries to settle in, let joy rise like a quiet rebellion. When pressure builds, let joy be the spacious breath I did not know I needed. When the enemy tries to convince me that joy is knave, remind me that it is a weapon, that it is the fruit of the Spirit, not the fruit of circumstance, that it is born from the deep well of knowing I am not alone. Father, thank you that joy is not a someday promise. It is a today invitation. I say yes to it. I open my heart to it. I stop waiting for everything to be better before I believe that you are still worthy of delight. This is the day you have made, and I will rejoice in it, not because everything is perfect, but because you are present in all of it. Let joy become part of my rhythm. Let it be what carries me through long days and quiet nights. Let it be what wakes me up and what tucks me in. Let it be the lens I use to look at others, and the light I let shine through my own weariness. Let it be what reminds me, again and again, that even here, there is still goodness worth celebrating. So I choose joy today not because I have to, but because I can. Because you have made it possible. Because you have planted it within me. Because when I lean into joy, I lean into you. And that is where I find life again. That is where I remember who I am. That is where I remember that this day, no matter what it brings, still holds space for wonder, still holds space for laughter, still holds space for joy. Father, as joy begins to rise again in me, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a quiet strength, I sense you inviting me into something even more delicate, something I have often tried to avoid. Waiting, not the kind that feels brief or effortless, but the kind that stretches, the kind that tests trust, the kind where time slows and prayers hang in the air unanswered. And yet, somehow, you are here too. Waiting is not an interruption to your plan. Sometimes, it is the very place where the plan unfolds. Lord, I confess waiting has rarely felt holy to me. It has felt like delay, like silence, like distance. But I am learning to see it differently now. Learning that waiting does not mean nothing is happening. It means something deeper is being formed. It means roots are growing, even if I can see them. It means you are still moving, even when I do not feel the shift. Waiting is not wasted when you are in it. So I bring you every unanswered prayer today, every longing that still aches, every promise that has not yet come to pass. I bring you the dreams I have had to place on a shelf, the doors I thought would open by now, the clarity I still have not found. I bring you the timeline I once tried to force, and I lay it down again, because peace is not found in knowing when. It is found in knowing you, God. In this waiting season, however long or quiet or uncertain it may be, teach me how to rest, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. Help me stop trying to make things happen in my own strength. Help me stop reaching for what is not ready. Let me sit in the quiet without panic. Let me hold the tension without needing to escape it. Let me be present to the now, instead of being consumed by what I hope will come next. You have not forgotten me. You are not punishing me with delay. You are preparing me. You are protecting what I cannot yet see. You are working in ways that I may only understand in hindsight. So help me trust you more than I trust my own sense of progress. Help me trust that growth does not always look like movement, that breakthrough does not always arrive with noise. Father, when my heart grows impatient, meet me with stillness. When my thoughts begin to spiral, steady me with truth. When comparison tempts me to question your timing, remind me that you write every story with perfect precision. I do not want someone else's journey. I want the one you have designed for me, even if it takes longer than I imagined. Let peace rise not as a feeling, but as a fruit. Let it rise in the mornings when things feel unchanged. Let it cover me when the days stretch slow. Let it whisper truth when doubt tries to fill the gaps. You are not slow as I count slowness. You are patient. You are intentional. You are weaving things together in a way I could never orchestrate. Teach me how to wait actively, to serve while I wait, to love while I wait, to pray not with clenched fists, but with open hands. Let me not waste this season wishing it away. Let me mine the gold that can only be found in delayed answers. Let me grow in resilience, in perspective, in faith. Let this not be a season of pause, but of preparation. God, I know you are not only working on what I am waiting for. You are working on me, refining motives, strengthening character, deepening roots, preparing me to carry what I have asked for without being crushed by it. So I won't rush this process. I won't curse the weight. I will let it do its work, even when it is uncomfortable. When I am tempted to give up or settle, remind me what is at stake. Remind me why I started. Remind me that you do not plant seeds without the intention to grow them. And you do not take longer because you are careless. You take your time because you care deeply, because what you are building is real. Help me be honest with you in the waiting, to bring you every question without shame, to let you hold the awareness I can't speak out loud, to stop pretending I am fine and instead find you in the vulnerable places. You are not afraid of my frustration. You are present in it. You are not threatened by my tears. You catch them. You do not need me to perform. You just ask me to trust. Father, I choose to believe that peace is possible here, not at the finish line, but in the middle. Right here, in this slow unfolding. Right here, in the unanswered. Right here, in the tension between promise and fulfillment. You are here, and that changes everything. Let me rest in that truth. Let it be my anchor when emotions fluctuate. Let it be my confidence when the world asks for results I do not yet have. Let it be my response when I am tempted to take shortcuts or grab control. I do not need to make something happen just to prove that progress exists. Sometimes, the most faithful thing I can do is stay where you have placed me and wait with a heart full of hope. God, you have waited on me more times than I can count, waited for me to return, to surrender, to believe again, and you never grew weary in your waiting. So teach me to reflect that same grace in how I wait now, to wait with expectation, not anxiety, with worship, not worry, with gratitude, not grumbling. Even here, even now, I believe you are doing something beautiful. Even if I can't name it yet, even if I do not feel it every day, even if I wake up with questions instead of clarity, you are still faithful. You are still writing. And when the day comes that the waiting ends, I want to be able to say I met you here, that I did not miss the gift of you were doing in me, just because I was so focused on what I was asking from you. So I will stay. Father, I will breathe deeply. I will lean into your presence and find peace again and again. I will believe that today, even in its silence, is not empty. It is sacred, because you are here, and that alone makes this waiting holy. Father, now that you have taught me how to wait with peace, not panic, I realize there is still something I wrestle with quietly, something that lingers even in the stillest moments of surrender. It is the aching need to control what I was never meant to carry. The desire to hold the reins, predict the outcome, or protect myself from pain through strategy or self-reliance. And today, I bring that burden to you because I no longer want to live with clenched fists. I want to walk in the freedom of letting go. God, you know how deeply I have longed for control. Sometimes it looks like over-planning. Other times, like anxiety dressed in logic. Sometimes it hides beneath the surface, subtle and disguised as wisdom or preparation. But you see the root. You know that underneath all my efforts is a fragile heart trying to feel safe. And yet, no amount of control has ever brought me true peace. It only made the fear louder. So I release it now. The illusion, the weight, the pressure. I release the need to know what is coming before I say yes. I release the grip I have had on relationships, outcomes, timelines, expectations. I release the need to fix what is not mine to fix, to carry what was never mine to bear. You are God, I am not, and that truth, though humbling, is my greatest relief. Teach me, Lord, how to live open-handed, to trust not only when things make sense, but especially when they do not, to trust when prayers remain unanswered, when people let me down, when plans unravel. Let me not respond by tightening my grip, but by leaning harder into you. Let surrender become my default, not just a last resort. Help me stop rehearsing scenarios that may never happen. Help me stop imagining every worst-case outcome, believing that worry somehow prepares me for what might come. Worry is not wisdom. Fear is not foresight. And control is not safety. Only you are, God. In the places where I feel most uncertain, where I want to take back the reins, meet me there. In my finances, in my health, in my family, in the dreams that have not come to life yet, in the relationships that feel fragile, in the future I cannot predict. Give me the courage to trust you, not just with my eternity, but with my today. Let me find comfort not in having all the answers, but in knowing the one who does. Let me anchor myself not in clarity, but in connection. Because if you are with me, that is enough, even if the road ahead wins in ways I never expected. Even if it leads through valleys before mountaintops. Even if what I lose along the way teaches me what truly matters. Father, I want to be okay with not knowing. I want to live from a place of deep-rooted trust, where peace is not tied to circumstances and joy does not require proof. I want to walk through life with a spirit of rest, even when everything around me feels uncertain. I want to walk through storms without reaching for false anchors. You are the rock. You are the calm. You are the one thing I can count on when everything else is shifting. Teach me to say, even if, and still mean I trust you. Even if things do not unfold the way I hoped, even if doors close, even if it takes longer, even if they do not understand, even if I never get the explanation. Teach me to live without needing all the pieces in place. Teach me to believe that you are working behind the scenes in ways I may never see this side of heaven. God, when I start to spiral into what-ifs, interrupt me with truth. Remind me that I am not holding the world together, that it is not my job to save, to predict, to protect against every outcome. It is my job to follow you, to trust you, to love well and obey in the now. Let that be enough. Let obedience today matter more than certainty about tomorrow. When I try to manipulate circumstances to feel secure, forgive me. When I try to control people to protect myself from rejection, heal me. When I try to manage every detail to avoid disappointment, remind me that you are sovereign even in the unknowns, that your plans are better than mine, even when they are harder, even when they are slower. Father, I know that control often stems from fear of pain, of loss, of failure, of looking foolish, of being hurt again, but fear cannot coexist with perfect love. So fill me with that love now. Let it quiet my need to grasp. Let it replace tension with tenderness. Let it make my heart soft again. Help me become someone who trusts easily, not because I am naive, but because I have tasted your faithfulness, because I have seen you come through in ways I never expected, because I have known what it is like to fall and find you already holding me. I have known what it is like to lose what I thought I needed, only to discover you were what I needed most. Let me be the kind of person who releases quickly, who forgives easily, who does not demand understanding before releasing the outcome, who does not hesitate to follow just because the destination is unclear. Let me walk lightly through life, carrying grace instead of burdens. Father, make my soul unburdened by the weight of needing to be in charge. Let me be comfortable with mystery. Let me find joy in surrender. Let me breathe deeply, knowing that you are working while I am resting, that you are providing while I am trusting, that you are guiding while I am obeying. I surrender control, not because I am giving up, but because I am choosing peace. I am choosing rest over striving, presence over planning, trust over tension. You have never failed me, and I believe you will not start now. So I let go not into nothing, but into the hands of a Father who never loses what is entrusted to him. Let this letting go not be a moment, but a way of life. Let it shape my relationships, my decisions, my prayers, my expectations. Let it free up space in my heart for joy, for gratitude, for laughter. Let it make room for miracles. Let it open the door for you to move in ways I never could have engineered on my own. So here I am, Lord, no longer clinging, but opening, no longer bracing for impact, but breathing in peace. I release control, and in doing so, I reclaim joy. I reclaim trust. I reclaim the calm that only comes when my soul finally remembers who is really in charge. And I choose to live like that is enough. Father, now that I have learned to release control and trust you with the things beyond me, something begins to soften in me, something that once held tight out of self-protection. I realize that what control tried to guard was often my heart. And now, in this freedom of surrender, you are inviting me to love more deeply, more freely, more fully than I have ever allowed myself to before. Not with calculation, not with walls, not with conditions, but with courage, with trust, with open hands and a soft heart. Lord, I confess I have been cautious with love, sometimes cautious in giving it, sometimes cautious in receiving it, sometimes hiding behind kindness while keeping real closeness at a safe distance. I have been hurt before by those I trusted, by those I tried to love well. So I learned to measure affection, to ration vulnerability, to guard myself from being disappointed again. But you are reminding me that true love is not safe in the way the world defines it. It is bold, it is costly, and it is worth it. You have never loved me cautiously. You have never withheld affection until I got it right. You have never stepped back when I was messy. You have loved me with a love that covers, that heals, that remains. And now you are asking me to reflect that love. Not perfectly, but honestly, not when it is convenient, But when it is needed most, give me the courage to love first, to initiate, to lean in, to forgive quickly and bless freely, to speak truth in kindness, even when it is hard, to stay present, even when I feel misunderstood, to see people not as risks to manage, but as hearts to value. Let me become someone whose love is not filtered through fear, but formed by grace. God, help me love the ones who are easy to ignore, the ones who drain me. Challenge me. Confuse me. Let compassion rise where judgment once stood. Let curiosity replace assumptions. Let patience have more space than irritation. Teach me that loving does not mean fixing, and caring does not mean controlling. Sometimes the greatest gift I can give is presence without pressure. Help me love those closest to me with intention, not routine. Let me not take their nearness for granted. Let me speak gratitude out loud, not just think it quietly. Let my affection be known, not just assumed. Let the people I love never wonder where they stand with me. Let my words be filled with life. Let my actions echo kindness. Father, show me how to love when it is inconvenient, when I am tired, when I feel unseen, when it is not reciprocated. Let my love not be tied to response, but to conviction. Let it be rooted in who I am becoming in you, not what I receive in return. You did not love me because I earned it. You loved me because it is who you are. Let that be true of me too. God, love is not weakness, it is strength. The kind of strength that bends without breaking, that absorbs offense without becoming bitter, that gives without keeping score, that heals instead of harms. Let that kind of love flow from me, not forced, not performative, but pure. Let it soften rooms and shift hearts. Let it be what remains when the words run out. When fear rises, fear of being hurt again, fear of rejection, fear of being taken for granted, remind me that love is worth the risk, that protecting myself may keep pain out, but it also keeps joy out, that living guarded may feel safer, but it also feels lonelier. You did not call me to safety. You called me to love, even when it is messy, even when it costs. Help me forgive like you forgive, not because they deserve it, but because I have been forgiven much. Help me release resentment before it hardens. Help me have hard conversations without shutting down. Let love be my reason, my motive, my compass. Let it outlast offense. Let it cover awkwardness. Let it lead. Show me how to love myself rightly too, not with arrogance, not with self-indulgence, but with dignity, to speak kindly to my own heart, to set boundaries when needed, to rest without guilt, to pursue wholeness because I am already loved, not so I can finally feel worthy. Teach me that loving others well begins with knowing I am loved well by you. Father, let my home be a place where love is loud, not just in celebration, but in challenge. Let love guide how I speak to my children, my spouse, my friends, my community. Let it shape how I disagree. Let it define how I correct. Let it cover how I lead and follow. Let it be the fragrance that lingers when people leave my presence. And Lord, for the people who are hard to love, the ones who be hurt me, who trigger my defensiveness, who I would rather avoid. Help me see them through your eyes, not as enemies, but as stories, not as threats, but as human beings with wounds of their own. Give me supernatural grace to hold space for them. Even if reconciliation is not possible, let bitterness have no soil in me. Let compassion win. You said the world would know we belong to you. By the way, we love not by our words, or knowledge, or status, but by our love. So let mine be authentic. Let it be resilient. Let it be a light in the dark, a balm for the broken, a mirror of your own love that never gives up. Let love be what I return to, even after failure. Let it be the foundation beneath my calling. Let it be the reason I stay when it would be easier to walk away. Let it be the fuel that keeps me from burnout. Let it be the evidence that I have been with you. So today, Lord, I choose to love without fear. I choose to forgive again, to reach again, to risk again, not because it is easy, but because you did it first. You loved me when I was running. You pursued me when I resisted. And if you could do that for me, I can do that for others. Let my life be marked by that kind of love. A love that is willing, a love that is brave, a love that lasts. Father, now that you have taught me to love without fear, to open my heart even when it is risky, I find myself needing another kind of strength, the kind that does not just move with love, but holds fast when life shakes. Because loving well, surrendering control, and trusting you often lead me into places where comfort is stripped away. And when the winds rise and the ground beneath me trembles, I need faith that does not flee. I need faith that stands in the storm. Lord, I have stood in storms before, moments when everything I counted on felt like it slipped from my grip. When prayers felt unanswered, when losses cut deep, when people I leaned on stepped away, when fear crept into the corners of my confidence. And though I wavered, you never did. Though I doubted, you held me. Though I questioned, you stayed. And now I look back and see that those were the places where faith grew, not in safety, but in surrender. So today, I do not ask you to keep me from every storm. I ask you to anchor me within them. Make me like a tree planted by living waters, roots deep. Heart steady, branches raised even under a dark sky. Let storms prove my foundation, not shake it. Let them drive me deeper into you. Not away, let faith rise, not as a feeling, but as a decision, a posture, a truth I returned even when everything else feels uncertain. God, when anxiety swells and circumstances threaten to pull me under, remind me where I stand, not on shifting sand, but on the rock that cannot be moved. Remind me that peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of trust. Remind me that you are not caught off guard by my circumstances, that what surprises me never surprises you. Strengthen my faith not just for today, but for every moment I will need to remember who you are. Let faith be the lens I use to interpret hardship. Let it be the filter through which I speak, think, respond, and believe. Let it shape the atmosphere around me, not by pretending pain does not exist, but by declaring that pain does not get the final word. Lord, when fear whispers that I am alone, let faith rise up and say, He is here. When doubt says it is over, let faith remind me that you are the God of resurrection. When weariness tells me to give up, let faith point to the promises you have made and never broken. When logic tries to limit what you can do, let faith tear down every ceiling with hope. I know now that faith is not loud. It does not need to shout. Sometimes it is a whisper, a breath, a single step forward when everything says turn back. Sometimes it is just staying, just holding ground, just choosing to believe, even when belief feels costly. Let me become familiar with that kind of faith, the quiet kind, the steady kind, the kind that endures. Let faith shape how I pray. Let it keep me from settling for safe, vague prayers. Let it give me boldness to ask for things that scare me, to pray for healing where doctors have given up, to pray for reconciliation where bitterness has taken root, to pray for revival in places that feel too far gone. Let my faith offend fear. Let it defy statistics. Let it make space for miracles. God, when I am in the middle of a storm and the wind drowns out your voice, remind me of what you have already said. Remind me of the promises that brought me here. Bring back the moments of clarity. Bring back the quiet confirmations. Bring back the scriptures that once lit a fire in my bones. I may not feel strong in the moment, but faith does not depend on feeling. It depends on trust. Teach me to declare truth even while I tremble. Teach me to stand even when I do not understand. Teach me to walk even when I cannot see. Let my life become a living testimony that faith can stand when everything else falls, that hearts rooted in you are not easily shaken, that storms do not define the faithful, they reveal them. Father, I want faith that outlasts circumstances, faith that does not shift when doors close or plans change, faith that is not threatened by silence or delay, faith that says yes even when I do not know what the outcome will be, faith that keeps showing up, keeps hoping, keeps worshiping, keeps loving, keeps standing, and not just for myself. Let my faith be a shelter for others. Let those around me find peace in my presence, not because I am perfect, but because I am anchored. Let my faith give courage to the fearful, light to the wary, strength to the weak. Let it be something they feel, even if they do not know what to name it. Let my life preach faith, even before I speak. God, when storms pass and skies clear, do not let me forget what faith taught me in the dark. Let it remain. Let it grow. Let it stretch me beyond comfort into calling. Let it prepare me for what is next, for what you are building, for the new thing I cannot yet see. Let faith be the constant, unshaken, unbending, alive. I do not just want a faith that survives. I want a faith that thrives, that expands, that becomes contagious, that grows deeper, wider, higher with every challenge. Not because I am strong, but because you are. Not because I have the answers, but because I trust the one who does. So when the rain comes, I 1T run. When the winds rise, I 1T hide. I will stand, not in my strength, But in yours, I will lift my eyes, not in denial, but in defiance of despair. I will say with my whole life, He is faithful, and even if the storm rages longer than I expected, I will still be here rooted, grounded, trusting. This is the kind of faith I want. Father, faith that can worship in the dark. Faith that does not need to understand everything to believe in your goodness. Faith that holds its ground, not because the ground is easy, but because you are worth standing for. You are steady, you are near, you are enough, and I will not be moved. Father, standing firm in faith after the storm, I begin to notice something quietly changing within me. It is not a dramatic shift, not a sudden answer, but a deeper awareness of all you have already done. In the stillness that follows endurance, gratitude begins to rise, not as polite words, but as a posture of the heart. I realize now that gratitude is not the closing chapter after victory. It is the lens through which I see every step, even the difficult ones. Lord, I confess that I have often waited to give thanks until circumstances improved. I treated gratitude like a response to success, instead of a discipline of faith. But you are teaching me that thanksgiving is powerful precisely because it does not depend on outcomes. It depends on recognition. Recognition that you have been present all along, that you have carried me through moments I once thought would break me, that I am still here, still breathing, still held. So today I pause, not because everything is resolved, but because I refuse to rush past what you have already done. Thank you for the strength I did not know I had. Thank you for the peace that met me in unexpected places. Thank you for the lessons learned in silence, the growth that happened in obscurity, the protection I never saw but desperately needed. Thank you for doors that closed, saving me from paths that would have cost me more than I understood at the time. God, gratitude is teaching me to see differently. Where I once saw delay, I now see preparation. Where I once saw loss, I now see redirection. Where I once saw emptiness, I now see space you created so something new could grow. Let this vision deepen. Let me stop measuring my life only by what I have gained, and start honoring what you have preserved. Teach me to be grateful not only for the blessings I enjoy, but for the process that shaped me, for the patience that waiting built, for the humility surrender required, for the courage love demanded, for the faith that storms refined. None of it was wasted. None of it was random. All of it has carried your fingerprint. Father, let gratitude guard my heart against bitterness. Let it soften the places disappointment tried to harden. Let it keep me from becoming entitled or forgetful. I do not want to live as if your goodness is owed to me. I want to live aware that every good thing is a gift, every breath a mercy, every day an invitation. Help me practice gratitude in the ordinary moments, in the quiet mornings, in the familiar routines, in the faces I see every day. Let me not overlook what is consistent simply because it is not dramatic. Let me see faithfulness as the miracle it truly is. Let me thank you for provision that comes steadily, not just spectacularly. Lord, gratitude is changing how I speak. It slows my complaints. It reshapes my prayers. It reminds me to name what is good before I focus on what is missing. Let it be the first response of my heart, not the last. Let it rise before worry has time to take root. Let it interrupt negativity and reframe my thoughts with truth. When comparison tempts me to believe I lack what others have, bring me back to gratitude. Remind me that my journey is uniquely held by you, that what you give me is tailored to who I am becoming, that abundance is not found in having more, but in recognizing enough. God, let gratitude make me generous. Generous with encouragement, generous with patience, generous with forgiveness. Let me become someone who notices good and names it out loud, someone who celebrates others without envy, someone who carries a spirit of thankfulness that lifts the atmosphere around them. Even in unanswered prayers, I choose gratitude, not because the waiting is easy, but because you are still worthy. Even in uncertainty, I give thanks, not because I understand, but because I trust. Even in weakness, I thank you, because your grace has always been sufficient. Father, I see now that gratitude does not minimize pain. It redeems it. It takes what was heavy and gives it meaning. It turns survival into testimony. It transforms memory into worship. Let my gratitude be honest, not forced. Let it include tears as well as smiles. Let it come from a heart that knows both loss and love. As I move forward, let gratitude remain my companion. Let it walk with me into whatever comes next. Let it keep my heart tender, my spirit humble, my eyes open. Let it remind me daily that I am not alone, not forgotten, not empty-handed. Thank you for walking with me through every chapter of becoming. Thank you for not rushing the process. Thank you for meeting me where I was and loving me forward. Thank you for your patience, your presence, your unchanging faithfulness. Today, I choose to live aware of grace, aware of mercy, aware of all that is still good. Let gratitude continue to transform me from the inside out, shaping how I think, how I love, how I trust. Let it prepare my heart for what is still to come, grounded not in what I hope to receive, but in what I have already been given. Father, now that gratitude has softened my heart and made space for peace to live and breathe in places once occupied by fear, I sense you calling me even deeper. You are not only drawing my attention to what you have done, but to what you are preparing me to walk into. And before I can step fully into that newness, I must release what no longer belongs. I must loosen my grip on the past, the pain, the pressure, the labels, the memories, and make room to receive the new. God, there are places in me still tied to what used to be. Words spoken long ago that shaped the way I see myself. Roles I played that I have outgrown but still feel attached to. Failures that whisper shame. Successes that silently define my worth. Even the good things, the seasons of joy, the relationships that once flourished, they can become weights if I carry them beyond their purpose. Help me know what to carry forward and what to bless and let go. Help me release the need to rewrite what has already been lived, to stop trying to make sense of what no longer fits, to forgive what hurt, to honor what helped, to grieve what ended, to let the past be a chapter, not a prison, I do not want to keep rehearsing what you have already redeemed. I want to live fully where you are now. Lord, show me what I have been holding on to that has been holding me back, the regrets I revisit in silence, the old dreams that turned into expectations you never asked me to cling to, the patterns that kept me protected but small, the attachments that once felt safe but now only drain. Let nothing from yesterday have power over today. Let nothing that happened then shape what is possible now unless it leads me to wisdom. Not worry. Teach me that healing does not mean forgetting. It means remembering with clarity. Not pain. It means looking back with perspective. Not paralysis. It means honoring the path that brought me here without letting it dictate where I go next. Let me become someone who lives with an uncluttered heart, who travels light, who is no longer chained to former seasons. God, I surrender the stories I keep telling myself, the ones that limit what you can do through me, the ones that say, this is just how it is, the ones that shrink faith to fit old disappointments. Rewrite them with truth. Replace them with purpose. Let your voice narrate my life, not my fear, not my past, not my insecurities. When I am tempted to go back to old habits, old mindsets, old versions of myself, remind me that I am not who I was. Remind me that you have done too much in me to live like nothing has changed. Remind me that growth requires release, that pruning precedes fruit, that faith is forward moving, not backward glancing. Let this release be sacred. Let it be complete. Let it be a holy offering of trust. I do not want to carry into the next season what no longer has grace on it. I do not want to drag expired assignments into fresh spaces. I want to enter new ground with empty hands, with open eyes, with expectation uncluttered by what used to be. Father, give me courage to close doors gently, to honor endings without fear, to celebrate what was without needing to resurrect it. Some chapters were beautiful, some were hard, some taught me, some broke me, but all of them are done, and that does not make me less. It makes me ready. You are not finished writing my story, and the next page needs room to be written freely, so I release what was, the should-haves, the could-haves, the if-onlys, the once familiar. I release it all not in bitterness, but in blessing. Thank you for every moment that carried me here. Now, help me unclench my hands and receive what is next. God, I know you are not only the God of restoration, you are the God of recreation, of fresh starts, of new mercies, of things not yet imagined. You do not just repair what is broken, you build what is better, and you do it from places I thought were too far gone. So I give you all my too lates, all my not enoughs, all my I wish it were different, and I receive whatever you are doing now. Let my faith be forward-facing. Let my heart be aligned with your current voice, not echoes of yesterday. Let my obedience match your present leading, not my past comfort. Let my life reflect the truth that you are always doing a new thing, not just once, but again and again. When I look at my future, help me do it with hope, not hesitation, with belief, not bargaining, with eyes that are no longer cloudy from what I have lost, but clear from what you are revealing. Let excitement rise where fear once stood. Let anticipation bloom where doubt used to grow. Let me be ready not because I have planned for every outcome, but because I trust the one who holds the next step. Father, prepare me to recognize the new even when it looks unfamiliar. Let me not reject it just because it does not resemble what I expected. Let me not resist it just because it stretches me. Let me embrace it even when it is uncomfortable, knowing that new things often require new faith. This is not just a season of transition. It is a season of transformation, of divine release and holy receiving, of letting go so that I can grow, of surrender so that I can be shaped, of walking away from what was so I can step into what will be. And if I begin to mourn what I have released, remind me that nothing surrendered to you is ever wasted. You recycle every tear. You rework every broken piece. You restore in ways that are deeper than I knew I needed. Let that truth steady me as I stretch into the unknown. So here I am, God, not looking back, not clinging to what has passed, but lifting my head, loosening my grip, and opening my soul wide to what you are doing now. I choose release. I choose readiness. I choose to live not with baggage from before, but with the boldness of someone who believes the best is not behind them. The best is still being written. Father, now that I have released the weight of the past and opened my heart to the new you are preparing, I come before you not as someone finished, but as someone formed by every quiet morning in your presence, every whispered surrender, every tear turned into trust, formed by the journey we have taken together through pain, peace, healing, hope, stillness, and faith, formed not by perfection, but by proximity to you. And as this morning prayer draws near its final breath, I feel no end, only a beginning, a deeper beginning, a quieter strength, a steadier heartbeat aligned with yours. Lord, I do not want to leave this place unchanged. I do not want to close this sacred dialogue and step into the day as if we did not just travel through valleys and mountaintops together. I want to live from this place, from this clarity, from this anchoring, from this quiet flame you have ignited in me again and again through each moment of honesty, each whispered cry, each breath that brought me back to your nearness. Let this not be just another morning routine to check off. Let this be a fire I tend daily. Let what has begun here spill into the rest of life, into my relationships, my work, my waiting, my becoming. Let it color the way I respond to stress. Let it soften the way I speak to myself and others. Let it reshape the way I walk into rooms, no longer wondering if I belong, but knowing I was sent. Teach me how to carry this presence without striving, how to walk slowly enough to remain aware of you, how to trust that the same Spirit who met me in the stillness also walks with me in the noise. Let me find you in traffic, in tasks, in tiredness, in tension. Let me not forget that hollowness can still be found in ordinary things. Father, help me return often, not out of obligation, but desire, not because I fear disconnection, but because I have tasted communion. I have seen what it does to a heart. I have felt what it does to a mind. I have known the grounding peace of being with you before anyone else speaks into my day. And I want to keep building my life on that rhythm, morning after morning, one sunrise at a time. Let this prayer echo long after the words fade. Let its truth settle into the architecture of who I am. Let it become the undercurrent of every decision, every silence, every step forward. Let it remind me that transformation does not always come with a spotlight. Sometimes it comes in quiet rooms, where we return to the feet of a God who never stopped waiting for us. Lord, thank you for every listener who has walked through this journey of morning prayer, for every heart that opened just a little more, for every tear that fell unseen, for every battle fought in silence, for every word that reminded someone they are not alone. Thank you for their courage to sit, to stay, to listen, to let this space become sacred. They could have rushed past it, but they chose to be here. And that choice mattered. If they are weary, breathe strength into their soul. If they are healing, let peace wrap gently around the H. If they are growing, give grace for the process. If they are waiting, let hope rise again. If they feel forgotten, whisper that you see them. You know their name. You know their story. And you are not finished, God. You have walked us through surrender, forgiveness, identity, courage, stillness, trust, and so much more. And yet, this is not a conclusion. This is the planting of something that will grow far beyond this prayer, like seeds scattered gently into the soil of faith. I believe what began here will take root. It will grow in hidden places. It will rise in unexpected seasons. It will bloom in ways that point back to you. Let their lives reflect the beauty of having met with you each morning. Let their words carry weight that only comes from being shaped in stillness. Let their presence shift rooms, not by volume, but by peace. Let joy return. Let dreams awaken. Let compassion deepen. Let their walk be one of wonder again. And when the day gets heavy, when the night feels long, when fear knocks again, let them remember that they have already been here, at your feet, in your arms, held by truth, anchored by love. They do not have to start from scratch. They just need to return, to breathe, to listen, to believe that you are still near, still speaking, still writing something good. Father, thank you for teaching us that your love is not seasonal. It does not rise and fall with our emotions. It does not depend on our consistency. It stays. It holds. It waits for us to wake up again tomorrow and remember where our help comes from. You are our morning light, our evening song, our every breath in between. So let the day begin not with fear, but with trust, not with anxiety, but with awe, not with burden, but with blessing, the kind of blessing that does not always change the circumstances, but changes how we move through them, the kind that opens our eyes to what is good, right here, right now. Thank you for the quiet miracle of being seen, for the invisible kindness of grace, for the unseen strength that flows in us, because we dared to meet with you again. It was never about perfect words. It was always about presence. And now we carry that with us into today, into tomorrow, into whatever comes next. To everyone who has prayed along, thank you for staying. Thank you for trusting the process. Thank you for opening your heart to this journey. If these prayers have spoken to your soul, I invite you to share your own in the comments below. Let this be a place not only for listening, but for connection. You never know who might need to hear your story. And if this journey has been meaningful to you, I gently encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who might need a reminder that hope still rises, that healing still happens, that morning light still breaks. Even after the darkest night, let us continue this rhythm together, day by day, prayer by prayer, heart by heart. And now, like a soft breeze through the trees, or the hush just before dawn, may peace rest upon you. May light fall gently on your shoulders. May hope stir quietly in your chest. And may you carry this sacred stillness with you, like the hush of morning air that reminds the soul something new is always beginning.